Well, hello and welcome to Naming in an AI Age. So, today we're coming at you with some viral content and some digging deeper a little bit about what went viral. So, in 2023, PepsiCo took their lemon lime drink, belovedly known as Sierra Mist, off the shelves and rebranded the drink supposedly as Starry. What we're here to talk about is not the rebranding, but the viral attention that this caught when a social media influencer named Cierra Misst claimed on TikTok that PepsiCo showed up with a cease and desist letter telling her that they were going to sue her for copyright infringement, which is our first kind of key here. She said that she almost acquiesced to changing her name, but her and her lawyer discovered that PepsiCo had let the name rights to the brand lapse, and she bought the rights to the copyright and used it to go after PepsiCo for infringement. This is just a convoluted claim here. So why does this whole situation seem unlikely, Mike?
Well, first of all, I think there's some confusion about copyright versus trademark, right? So really the conversation and the media that's been reporting on this should be talking about this is a trademark issue, not a copyright issue. And that's just hugely important. The laws are different. The types of things that are protected are different. So I think that's the first misstep in terms of the conversation.
Well, for sure. Being an English teacher, we talk about copyrights. A former English teacher. I mean, I guess I'm always a teacher, but we talk about copyrights being more of like a written play or song or those type of things, not necessarily brands or products that you're going to be selling specifically. So what I did to try to double check this and really fact check is I went to the USPTO website. It contains all the information you need to know. And I looked up PepsiCo, I looked up Cierra Misst, and PepsiCo does in fact own the trademark rights to Cierra Misst. They have a live, registered, and renewed trademark. So for Cierra Misst. So regardless of if the product is on the shelves or not, they still do have those trademark rights.
The place to go to check is uspto.gov. And it's the coolest interface. They upgraded their interface a few months ago. It's pretty user-friendly. And while there are a lot of nuances into how to use it, if you would enter in something like Sierra Mist, you'd be able to see, what's out there, and that PepsiCo does have the registration. But just to reiterate what Ashley was saying, trademarks have to do with names. That's not what copyright has to do with. Copyright has to do with content. So the name of a song, the name of a product, the name of a company. If you're using those things to sell services, that's a trademark. If it's the content you've written, or if it's the lyrics of the song, or if it's the text in a book, that's written content, that's protected by copyright law.
Let's say a situation like this did happen and a big company did just for some reason let their trademark rights lapse. They didn't re-register or renew it. How likely is that to actually happen in your opinion?
Well, it does happen. I mean, we've had folks over the years, especially with the larger companies that maybe have gone through some acquisitions. Mm-hmm. So they've acquired other companies in their portfolio of brands and not realize the value that portfolio has. And since no one in the company or in the organization is assigned responsibility for products with names that have been discontinued or, services that have been acquired and have names, but we're no longer calling it that thing, they don't worry about it. Mm-hmm. I can tell you as a professional namer that every trademark you own, especially if it's a short, real word, is like a pot of gold. And the last thing you want to do is let those registrations expire and someone else come along and register that name either out from under you or in the same category or space that you're in. It's becoming increasingly difficult I mean, a lot more challenging for even professionals to come up with really breakthrough, exciting, cool names. So if you own some of those, don't let them go. I guess that's my advice.
Yeah, I mean, monitor that. I mean, monitoring to make sure that you are renewing and you are keeping those maintained. But also, if you are maintaining a trademark, do you have to maintain its use in commerce, or how does that work? Do you know?
You do. And there's a lot of misunderstanding about this, that when you register a name as a trademark, it's for a specific thing that you're selling or a specific service that you're offering. You can't, it's not like a .com, right? There's only one owner of a .com worldwide, right? So we own NameStormers.com. Nobody else in the world can own NameStormers.com, regardless of what they want to do with that name, because we own it. Well, that's not the way trademark law works at all, right? You can have exactly the same name used over and over and over again and trademarked over and over again for different classes of goods and services. So you might have Sierra Mist for a soft drink, but arguably you could have Sierra Mist for a perfume. Now, because PepsiCo is PepsiCo, they might attempt to prevent your using it for a perfume, and they might be successful because they've got lots of money and they have an established brand. But for most smaller folks, that would not be a problem, right? That the likelihood of someone confusing a perfume, it's a different class of goods and services, with a soft drink, I think most folks would feel those are different enough animals that they could coexist. And there are lots of examples. You know, Odyssey is a name that's registered hundreds of times around the world for all kinds of things. So it's not just the Honda minivan, it's all kinds of other stuff. So you can't register a mark for everything. You also cannot renew a mark, a trademark, unless you're still using it. If you are no longer using that name and you can no longer show that you're engaged in internet commerce, it's more challenging to renew that and sort of keep that name alive. And this is where I think a conversation with a trademark attorney, we're not lawyers, we can't give you legal advice, would really help you. So if you have that portfolio of names and you're not worried about those things expiring, and you're listening to this and you say, well, maybe I should pay a little bit more attention to that portfolio, often you can come up with a strategy that will allow you to renew that registration successfully and protect your ownership in that name.
I think this has been a very timely topic, thinking about the prevalence of AI, fake news, social commentary everywhere these days. It's really important to fact check from a reliable source, or check with an IP attorney or a government website like USPTO.gov when you're checking on this type of stuff. Well, thank you, Mike, for all of your insight, and be careful as things go viral, because you never know what's true and what's not true. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.
See you guys. Bye-bye.